What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Monday. Hope everybody had a good Titans-less weekend on Sunday as the Titans played Thursday night, had the weekend off, but we're back here on a Monday, and there's still tons to talk about with the Titans. First, the loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday night, what Mike Vrabel had to say Friday during his day after game press conference that was not short on topics and storylines and comments that we will play throughout this morning's show. And then we'll discuss a lot of what happened in the AFC South over the weekend because the Titans did not have things fall the way they wanted to on Sunday, with CJ Stroud having a record day, Bryce Young having a record bad day, and that helped the Colts out. So a lot to get to here with Mike Vrabel playing games regarding Will Levis and the Titans starting quarterback position as the Titans officially start game week for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had a heartbreaking loss yesterday. Zach, I'm sorry we haven't discussed your Bucs fandom and how that roller coaster has been going so far this season, but I feel like you're in a gap year, which is totally okay, right? Like, you graduated with fireworks with Tom Brady, and now you're just taking a gap year to figure things out before you go to college. That's what your Bucs fandom's like.
The hard part about the gap year is when you're close, you want them to win, and then when you keep losing, then you get to a point in the season where you're like, well, this is, Baker Mayfield's not the future of this franchise. Let's be honest. Mike Evans probably not going to be there next year either. So, like,
you're just waiting to, enroll into school the next semester.
Yeah. And what you don't want to be, and this is what we've talked about, is in purgatory, right? You don't want to be midway, 8-9, 9-8. You don't want to be, 7-6 win team. You want to be the Arizona Cardinals, but it's hard being the Arizona Cardinals, right? And so
the trade away Josh Dobbs to tank better.
Well, the Texans are a great example. The Texans were the Texans for a number of years, and the Houston, fans were like, this is miserable. But now they got CJ Stroud, and they're looking pretty damn good. That offense, weirdly to say, is electric. They have some electric facets to the Houston Texans offense, and the Titans will see them twice more, throughout the course of this season. CJ Stroud is really progressing as I watch him more, but at unfortunately the angst of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
But hey, well, we got a lot to get to this morning here. We'll talk about Mike Vrabel's comments about Will Levis, Ryan Tannehill, and the criticism of Will Levis, and then we'll talk some AFC playoff picture as that's starting to form and where the Titans are at currently with that. But Zach, people got something to do before we go in here.
Yeah, and I will say this will be one of the more difficult age games. Yep, this is going to be tough. And now it's going to be a learning lesson, a teaching moment of what the chat, and I don't believe, maybe you have, but need to see. You need to open your eyes and see this. So we'll talk about that with our age game at the end of this show. We are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Keep it locked right there. We will tweet out segment by segment our YouTube links on our Twitter/X handle at A to Z Sports. A good follower, over 25,000 followers over there on Twitter/X. Constant good content going out from our team on at A to Z Sports. So great Twitter/X handle. Give us a follow there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And here's another thing that I'm going to add to the YouTube kind of spiel to start every show. Make sure your alerts are on, because you can have live alerts. You ring the bell. If you put that bell on, then you get notified when we go live. Sometimes Facebook is not as reliable. I've seen that YouTube is maybe a little bit more reliable. So subscribe if you have not already. If you've already subscribed to our YouTube channel, we're on our path to 20,000 subscribers. Make sure you like this video. That helps the algorithm and get more Titans fans, more football fans, more AFC South fans involved as we grow this community and grow this conversation. Facebook, what's going on? Facebookers, bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing on this show, as we say. So share the show around. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed. And let's get this party started on a Monday, not coming off of a Titans win or loss. I mean, it's a loss last Thursday night, but a little bit more reaction over the weekend for NFL games and a lot to get to.
Yep, long cold open today, but let's officially get it going. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. We are Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Link to the show on our Twitter X timeline at A to Z Sports, segment by segment. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors because they truly make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process by seeing them in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans at fbhp.com/ATOZ. The Aura app, keeping your information safe online, and get a 2-week free trial with our link, aura.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 great locations in the Middle Tennessee area, Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Their website is krebskubota.com. So I will address something out of the gates because I've seen several comments discuss it already on both Facebook and YouTube, but I'm just going to showcase Stevens because he says the Boston Globe article on the home run potential hire of Vrabel was interesting. So everybody who wants to discuss Mike Vrabel and that situation, we will be doing that tomorrow morning, because I have a very interesting opinion on that. I have research to do today, and we will discuss that at length, which I think will be a very good conversation of that. But that will be Tuesday morning because we have to discuss what was the aftermath of the Titans losing to the Steelers on Thursday Night Football by 4. Will Levis throwing a pick for a touchdown attempt right there at the end, and Mike Vrabel's press conference right after that on Friday. But Zach, you have not discussed anything about the Steelers game. Do you have any things you need to say before we get to Vrabel's Friday presser about the game on Thursday night?
I think a couple of things that come to mind is that first opening drive of the football game was devastating. Let's just set the tone there. That is unlike and uncharacteristic of the Titans defense, kind of like what we saw against Indianapolis and their run defense. But boom, the Steelers go down and score, and then the game kind of shakes out through there. The Titans have some hard-earned points. They don't get in the end zone as many times as they need to, or at least as they did against Atlanta, right? But Will Levis, growing up, right, building blocks, I think that's what that game represented. Sure, you would love for Will Levis on prime time on national television to mount a drive and win that football game. And most NFL games come down to 2 minutes. What are you going to do? You saw Cowboys-Eagles right there. Even the Bills-Bengals shook out last night as a close game and making plays. But Will Levis being able to pass consistently, you don't want him passing 39 times, but he can. And that's something the Titans quarterbacks have not, I feel like, done or been able to do over the last years. Tannehill's window is throwing for about 150, 175, only 20, 25 times. If Will Levis can kind of grow from these experiences, and I'll say the last thing on the game, throw missed, receiver turned around, right? Tajay Spears. That was the backbreaker that, I mean, could have changed the complete complexity of that game if they were able to make that play. I think there was shared responsibility on both. I don't think it was singular to Tajay Spears. I don't think it was a completely bad throw by Will Levis. But that timing, that's your opportunity. And then the interception at the end, you're just trying to make a play. Probably don't throw it across the middle, but I don't slash or criticize Will Levis in that situation. Tough loss and tough AFC loss as the trajectory of the Titans tends to be more cloudier and cloudier by every loss at 3.
Yeah, I think 85 to 90% of quarterbacks throw that interception or fail to score a touchdown in that spot. Like Dak Prescott last night had a similar situation, right? And he threw it short of the end zone and CeeDee Lamb caught it, goes onto the stats book, but no touchdown loss, right? So I think, that's something that I don't think either of us or many people in the chat are going to blame Levis for that interception, his first pick of his career. But let's go to Vrabel's press conference, opening up his Friday presser, being asked by Teresa Walker. The very first question of this press conference about who the starting quarterback is moving forward, and if it is or isn't rookie Will Levis.
Are you ready to name him maybe your starter?
No, not ready to do that yet. Think we'll have a conversation with the depth chart over the weekend, and we'll have a depth chart or something close to it available, when we talk to you on Tuesday to be able to go through the moving parts of not only Ryan's health, but whatever there are going on the offensive line, which there is, coming out of that game, which there would be like in the defensive secondary. So there'll probably be some moving parts here over the weekend.
When you make that decision, Mike, is it purely on who, assuming Ryan's healthy, is it purely on who's playing better right now, or do you take into account things like Ryan's track record or Will's potential, things like that as well?
Yeah, I think with any position, you look for, who gives you the best opportunity to win and where you're at and what's best for the football team. So, we'll have those conversations over the weekend. We'll see where Ryan's health is. We'll see where some different guys are as health, but we're always just trying to figure out what gives us the best chance to win, what we can do to win a football game, especially one next week that's on the road.
So there's Mike Vrabel Friday's press conference. That was the first minute and a half of his press conference on Friday after losing to the Steelers. A ton to pick apart there, and we're going to do that. Him not committing to Will Levis as the Titans starting quarterback moving forward. We'll see where Ryan Tannehill's ankle is, but let's react to that, Zach, here, but in a moment after I tell you guys about Krebs Kubota, Middle Tennessee's preferred equipment provider and an elite Kubota dealer in the Middle Tennessee area. Krebs Kubota is where you should turn for all of your equipment needs. They have 3 great locations in Middle Tennessee: Murfreesboro, Columbia, and Franklin. Their website, KrebsKubota.com, is pretty incredible. I will say that I've been checking out the website for sure. And whether you need equipment for your property, for your home, whatever projects you have to do in the spring, now is a great time to do that. The holidays are approaching. Nudge that person saying, hey, you need to do better for the yard in the spring. Now is a great time to do that, to go get the equipment that they need to get that project done with Krebs Kubota. They also have the best equipment and the best warranties in the industry as well. And with their great customer service, you don't have to buy the equipment. You can rent it. Maybe it's just a weekend project. That's all you need it for. You don't want to store it in your garage or in your shed out back. Krebs Kubota allows you to rent that right equipment for however long you need it, take it back, and be done with it right there. Check them out online for everything at KrebsKubota.com.
It is esports. We're powered by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today. We got you hooked up right there. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports for the king of the sports books. We love BetMGM. We talk about BetMGM day in and day out on this morning show. Use that bonus code for new users, ATOZ Sports, right there. Download the app today.
All right, so Mike Vrabel said not really willing to say that Will Levis is the starting quarterback yet for the Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill is now, when this Bucs game begins, that will be the 4-week mark, the 28-day mark from his sprained ankle that happened in London. It feels like it's been a lot longer than just 22 days this morning. But 28 days by the time the Titans kick off against Tampa in Tampa there. So Zach, what did you think about Vrabel's approach of no, not ready to do that yet? And he's always said Ryan's our quarterback when healthy. Like, we've got that clip that we played, a few weeks ago. Ryan's the quarterback when healthy, and we've seen that a lot. So what is your feeling on how Vrabel answered that question on Friday?
Well, Mike Vrabel notoriously is not reactionary, right? When he gets on, even after the game, they lose, they win. He is very, and this is the Belichick in him, right? Is don't get too high, don't get too low. It's a long season, one day at a time, one game at a time. That we on to the next one, on to Cincinnati. Like, it's instilled in him. So we know that pisses a lot of people off, but it's just what it is. And this is another example of being very protective. He's being protective of his decisions or future decisions. Right, wrong, and different, that's what he's doing, right? Because after a Thursday night game, There's no reason. I mean, nobody's forcing him to make any decision on a game that's coming the following Sunday on the road against Tampa. He wouldn't even tell that Will Levis was starting on Thursday until reports got out, right? So this is completely by Mike Vrabel's book on what he's doing. He's being very protective. And he's been, I feel like, even more protective of a young quarterback. The good thing, and here's the silver lining in all of this that I feel like we forget about. The good thing is that Malik Willis is not in the conversation anymore. Let's just be honest. Right?
Not for anything like substantial, right?
Not substance. And there was some worry at the beginning of the year, and as they maneuvered through the backup and the third string quarterback, and then the draft picks and all. But Malik that is a positive for Titans fans, because if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one quarterback. If you got three quarterbacks,
Vrabel doesn't believe that though. But Vrabel was asked that.
And he can believe whatever the hell he wants to believe.
Yeah.
But history shows that if you got two quarterbacks, you don't have one. You don't have one quarterback, and that you need one quarterback to win. But he's being very protective, like Vrabel is. But I don't want to give Vrabel credit. There was no need for him to immediately on a Friday announce that, right? In Vrabel's way, and he didn't.
Yeah, and people are saying Malik is going to get cut. I mean, who knows what's going to happen moving forward. The trade deadline is passed, and so there's no way you can get rid of Malik Willis or do anything for him right now. It's going to be an off-season decision with that, and so we'll figure out. This is all about Ryan Tannehill's health, right? And John Glennon in his follow-up question, it's like, assuming and just like in the hypothetical of Tannehill is healthy, how do you do this? Do you weigh the future of Levis or what you know now about Tannehill and the answer?
What do you know now about Tannehill and his injury, right? Well, like there's some question marks there.
Yeah, I know. Like even if we want to take week 1 against New Orleans, where Tannehill was dreadful and say threw 3 interceptions, even if you want to remove that, you've got 5 games of Tannehill, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, and 2 games of Levis with 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. And, Tannehill's 1-2 in 5 chances and Levis is 1-1. So, his answer was, well, you want to do what's going to help you win games now. And based off of the, last 2 weeks, we've seen a different level of explosiveness. Unfortunately, scoring 16 points in the last 3 losses is what's happened with Ryan Tannehill, with Will Levis. You lose games, you score 15 or 16 points, or you score 3 in Cleveland, right? And so the result on the scoreboard was not different, but I feel like the way you got the 16 points looked and felt different because of, look, Levis had like 6 completions of 20 yards or more in the game against Pittsburgh.
Good throws.
Yeah.
Big boy throws. Right? NFL quarterback type throws. And I think another thing that goes into this is Pittsburgh. Having a rookie quarterback go into a hostile environment, the Pittsburgh Steelers on a primetime game are always tough to beat. They all, regardless if it's Kenny Pickett pause or if it's Ben Roethlisberger, or if it's Mitchell Trubisky.
Do you want to see the stat? Do you know the stat? The Pittsburgh stat for rookie quarterbacks? Do you know it? You weren't on the show. After Will Levis lost in Pittsburgh, rookie quarterbacks are 1-21 in Pittsburgh in the last 20 years. The one rookie quarterback to win a game in Pittsburgh in the last 20 years is Dak Prescott. And like, isn't that crazy?
I remember that game too. That was a close game.
1-20. It was 1-20 before Thursday, and Levis became 21.
And that is meaningful in this conversation on how he handled things. He went in there and he had command. Did he win the football game? No. But Austin, he damn sure gave his team a chance.
You took the words right out of my mouth. He damn sure gave his team a chance to win. And that's, so let's hear this audio or video from Vrabel, because a lot has been discussed with Mike Vrabel. I've gotten texts about it. We've gotten comments from you guys about it on the show. I've seen it on social media. Man, Vrabel is really tough on Will Levis. And here was Mike Vrabel on Friday when asked about how do you think Will Levis played Thursday night in Pittsburgh. The beginning of this video is absolutely hilarious.
Will played last night.
Again, when we lose, nobody did a good enough job. I think there was some good plays. I think that there was some decisions that we can't make, and throwing the ball into cover two down the sidelines isn't something that is going to be very advantageous offensively if you're trying to take care of the football. Again, in that particular situation, we all felt like made a bad decision to go to Hop on first down, missed Tajay, on second down, and instead of making what would have been a costly mistake, I felt like taking the lead on the road and ensuring that to happen on 3rd and 10 was the right decision.
Tajay gets twisted up on that play. It seemed like it was more on him. It was a decent throw. And you say, well, we can't try that again because our rookie running back got tied up.
No, I don't think that. I think we need to throw a better ball at that point and just.
You didn't put it right on Tajay? Is that what you were saying on that play?
I just think we need to find a way to complete that pass to open guys, and Will knows that, and any quarterback would know that, whether Tajay got turned around or anything else.
Well, Coach, how do you think Will Levis played last night in a nearly impossible place for a rookie quarterback to win? I mean, and then need to throw a better ball. And there's so many things to pick apart there in what Mike Vrabel saying about his rookie quarterback. I saw, Lucas brought this up, and the second half of that was about the decision to run the ball on 3rd and 10 with a timeout in your pocket and 25 seconds to go on the clock before half. You run the football, and instead of giving Will Levis another opportunity, the play after, he couldn't connect with Tajay Spears. So he punished Levis on 3rd and 10. Maybe not. He didn't say he did. He just thought he wanted to protect a lead on the road in that situation. So a lot to get to, Zach. Let's ask this question to the audience. Is Mike Vrabel being too critical, or is he being fair when he is talking about and publicly handling Will Levis? Is Mike Vrabel being too critical or fair in his public handling of Titans rookie quarterback Will Levis? But I will let you tell everybody about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com is where to go to get your new health plan. I got my health plan in 2022. I carried it over to 2023, and it's looking good for 2024. Health, dental, and vision, 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. If you live in Tennessee, make sure you check out Farm Bureau Health Plans, and it can be the right health plan for you individually. Maybe you're a single person, and you just need a plan, or you've got a wife. You got a wife and kids. You got a family. You've got a husband. It doesn't matter. The Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you and your family, and they've been helping Tennesseans for over 75 years. They're trusted by the Tennessee Titans. They're trusted by A to Z Sports. How it works is you call in, or you go to FBHP.com/A to Z, and you get a quote. You take a quick health assessment. They give you a quote, and then you decide. There's no pressure. You can make that decision for yourself. But when I took the health assessment and I got a quote, I realized that it was a much better health plan, all told, price included, but all told. For me, I made the switch. You should too. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee.
And November is officially here, and so is football. So gear up with a BetMGM app and tap into greater thrills all season long and get a great first bet offer, the best first bet offer out there for any sports book. That's with BetMGM and our bonus code ATOZ Sports. That means when you sign up with our code ATOZ Sports with BetMGM, go big on that first bet because you get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that first bet misses. So no worries. You go swing twice at it big time, up to $1,500 back in bonus bets with that first bet offer. So go big with our bonus code. That's ATOZ Sports when you sign up with a BetMGM app. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. It's the only new customer offer. All promotions subject to qualification and requirements. First online rope money wager only. Rewards issued in double bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days. And for problem, get a sport. Call Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789. So Zach, I will send you to the chat here. Is Mike Vrabel being too critical, or is he being fair when he's publicly handling Titans QB Will Levis, because we just heard, didn't play, good plays, bad plays, can't throw it on the sideline into cover 2. Got to have a better ball to Tajay on second down. Is he being too critical of Will Levis, or is this fair? What's the chat saying here?
Trevor starts off with saying fair. Steven also says fair. Mark D says critical. Mr. Jones says fair. Lou Man says fair. So fair's in lead early on. Orlando also says fair. Eric says too critical. Fair, it's who he is. Fair from David. Too critical from Amar. Too critical from Jags Got Juice. CJ says fair. Too critical coming in there. Jesse says Vrabel is a good coach, but he has no idea how to handle young talent. His track record proves that.
What is that track record?
Yeah, I mean, in what regard? I think you got to be specific in what young talent represents and what position, right?
Yeah. Like what are the young talented players that Vrabel has messed up? Like, is it not throwing the ball to AJ Brown enough as a rookie in like the month of September and October? I mean, like that's one that comes to mind, but Tajay Spears is out there getting a lot of reps and he's a young talent. Peter Skoronski is probably the best off. I don't know what that situation is, what that means.
Duran says fair. Nick goes critical. Mo says critical. DeMario says fair. Critical from Steven. Way too critical from Jay Bryant. Nick also goes critical. Critical greater than fair from Micah. So, I think that's a fair point by saying maybe it's not too critical, but it's greater than fair. Playing logistics from Scary Harry, just motivating him from Rambo First Blood, which is kind of funny. Let's see. Critical coming in, critical, fair. Darius says fair. He wants him to earn it, but understand how it can be critical. This is unique because the chat, you've got Rashid and Mike both coming in as fair, but PBK says too critical. He does not look like a rookie. Jack and Black says too critical. You don't throw your rookie quarterback back under the bus. And so Jack felt like that answer maybe threw him under the bus a little bit. Austin, unique chat, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's more split than maybe what we would assume heading into this question. I think the chat is split 50-50 on too critical and fair on how Mike Vrabel is handling his young rookie quarterback, after 2 starts at 1-1.
Yeah. So my answer, I think this is, for the most part, it's fair. And I've had people text me like since the Falcons game, right? Because after the Falcons game, Mike Vrabel was very even on Levis, who just had 4 touchdown passes in a debut, 3 of which were like bombs with 50 air yards or more. And it was the best rookie quarterback debut since Fran Tarkington scored 5 total touchdowns in 1961. That was it. And there was the tunnel meet from Levis walking up the tunnel, Vrabel kind of not being excited and sending him in there. The locker room, there was the post-game speech the Titans published all over social media, and not one mention of Will or Levis's name in that minute or so speech after a big win when the rookie quarterback helped you win the game. And so everybody's like, wait, does Vrabel hate Will Levis? I'm like, I don't. And then you see this. How do you think Will Levis played in Pittsburgh? I think it's fair because especially after the Falcons game, when this kind of narrative started to grow a little bit, I would respond to those texts that I got of saying, look, Mike Vrabel knows that Will Levis just had the best rookie quarterback debut since Fran Tarkington in 1961. He knows that the national media will be talking about mayo in the coffee and the eating the full banana and Will Levis's biceps and how great Will Levis's throws are and all these things and how so I think Mike Vrabel is managing his rookie quarterback. Now, does Will Levis need to be managed this strictly? I don't know. Will Levis seems like a pretty even dude from how he's responded to both a win against the Falcons and a loss against the Steelers. Will Levis seems like he's played quarterback his whole life. He knows how to answer the questions like a quarterback. But I think it's fair because I don't think Vrabel wants Will Levis to even have the slightest thought of, I got this, and still keep doing what he's been doing the last few months and preparing and getting ready to go out there and play comfortable and loose and to be effective. So I think it's fair.
So
overall, I say fair.
well,
Look,
publicly, because what's the question,
publicly.
right?
And I think it's also trying to hey, fans, like the Falcons game's one game. It's one game. Did he
Right.
almost throw a pick and DeAndre Hopkins had to play defensive back? And yeah, he almost threw a pick there where he shouldn't have against Pittsburgh, and the Steelers, DB dropped it. The Steelers DB dropped the one to Chig right before the one that was caught to Wiley to end the game. So I do think it is overall his public approach with Will Levis is fair for me.
I think he's going overboard. Like,
Okay.
I there's a difference between tough love and how Mike Vrabel has acted in the last 2 weeks. And I'll give you an analogy. It's the army dad that never tells his son, I love you. Now, it doesn't mean that he doesn't love you, but he's such an asshole. Let's just call it what it is. And we got to get the most. We got to wake up early. You're in the army now. You're not behind a plow. You'll never get rich by digging a ditch. You're in the army now. Like every single day. But he never says, I love you, ever, for 50 years. That I feel like in the last 2 weeks, I get tough love. If there's anybody who is so upset at how sensitive society is, it's me. I think society is I'm not going to go any further. I think it's got a problem. So I am not the one that is like the softy, but I do think in the way that Austin, let's replay this real quick and let's get your opinion.
Will played last night.
Is that how you believe that Will Levis played on Thursday night? Did he win? No. Did he throw an interception? Yes. Did he make some bad throws or not great decisions for a quarterback in prime time? But do you think, if I asked you, how do you think Will Levis played?
Will played last night.
Wrong. That is fundamentally incorrect. He didn't play like that. He didn't play great. He shouldn't be praising him and saying, man, I'm disappointed they didn't throw 4 touchdowns like he did the week before. We're not going crazy here, people. But it is overboard. It's a little too much army dad for me. And that's how I answer publicly. I will also say this as a disclosure. I don't know what goes behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Will Levis may be dapping up. They may be buds. He may be telling him, I love you every single day, right? I don't know. But the question we're asking is publicly, and I think that it's overboard.
I think, again, overall, I say fair, but I love the analogy.
Do you agree with Mike Vrabel of what he said about his play on Thursday night? That's ridiculous.
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that I see through it. I think. Does that make sense too? I am not falling for I don't think that Will Levis and Mike Vrabel are dapping each other up in the locker room and they're eating lunch together every day. I'm not saying they're doing that. I mean, they probably should eat lunch together every day because it's the future of the franchise. But we'll talk more about the future of the franchise tomorrow when it comes to Mike Vrabel and a trade. But so I do think that this is a facade. I think it's a show. I think it's Mike Vrabel trying to keep things as even as possible. And I think it goes into the overall game that Mike Vrabel is playing.
But but the point is, it's too much. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that, what you just said. I think it's a part of the whole plan.
Yeah.
But this is getting out of hand. You're sitting here not going to tell anybody what the quarterback situation is, if Ryan plays. Oh, well, what do you think about the reports of Will Levis starting? I never said that. Like, there's so many different examples of Mike Vrabel playing hardball. He can continue to play hardball, but what my point is that it's too much. And that's why I answered the way that I did. We're kind of getting a little bit worn thin of it.
I don't, I think there is a line where Mike Vrabel will absolutely cross it and go way overboard with his criticism and critical nature of Will Levis. It's if he goes back to Ryan Tannehill. That I think is the what the hell is going on moment. And that's the title of today's show. Mike Vrabel needs to stop playing games with Will Levis as the Titans starting quarterback. Because what is he doing? He's playing games. Is he being Army dad? Is he just going through this facade of public information and trying to throw off teams and gamesmanship for the Bucs to not know if Tannehill's going to come back or if it's going to be Levis for the third game in a row? In my opinion, that doesn't matter because like what's the, has there been a schematic difference in Ryan Tannehill and Will Levis's game plan other than they throw the ball deeper for Levis? So if you're the Bucs, prepare for Levis and be okay with Tannehill. That's what I'm doing if I'm the Bucs. Prepare for Levis and then catch everything else underneath. So like I think he only goes too far with his criticism of Levis is if he goes back to Tannehill, which absolutely should not happen.
But could.
It feels
Austin,
like it could.
It could happen. Mike Vrabel could sit here, and I don't condone this, but he could sit there and say, we're paying a quarterback $30 million. I don't believe in losing your job based on injury. Ryan Tannehill is our starter. He gives us the best chance to win, and he's going to start. He could say that, Austin. And that is the prototypical Army dad response, right?
Yes.
So I don't know what's going to happen.
Right,
It works in Mike Vrabel's favor. We understand why he does the gamesmanship stuff. But I also say it's kind of going overboard.
Look, I don't think in my opinion, it can't go overboard until Tannehill replaces Levis, a healthy Levis, as the starter.
Austin, is this anywhere remotely the correct answer?
Will played last night.
Levis was not nearly as good against Pittsburgh as he was against Atlanta.
Is that the correct answer on how Will Levis played?
No, but I feel like that was Vrabel having to be like, how am I going to make this not as good as it actually was? Like it is.
But that's public perception. Like he's on the stand. He's on the stage. He knows where he is, right?
Yeah.
And I think you could have answered that question a lot different than,
Look, I don't disagree. I do want to get to some super chats because we got a lot of them. And I think there's a question, you kind of floated it out there of like, should Ryan Tannehill lose his job because of injury? And, I think that's something we can kind of hit on both with some of the super chats that I see make sense with that conversation and really expanding this convo of how Vrabel is treating Will Levis. Zach says he's the Army dad that never tells his son, I love you. But first, let me tell you guys about Aura, who will protect your information online. Aura is all about helping you out. I signed up with Aura over 6 months ago, and it's been phenomenal. I don't get spam calls. I don't get junk mail like I used to because Aura identified 30 data brokers who were selling my information to telemarketers and spammers and robocallers and opted me out on my behalf. It was so easy. It took 5 or 6 days for 30 data brokers to be stripped of my information. And we're going to give you a 2-week free trial with our sponsor, Aura, with our link only, aura.com/ATOZ. That's aura.com/ATOZ. Get rid of the data brokers, protect your info, credit identity theft as well. Password management and protection is huge too, with all that Aura offers in a 2-week free trial. It's great. It's real. Aura.com/ATOZ.
A to Z Sports were powered by BetMGM. Download the app today. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. That's for new users, and that's if you use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. They are the king of the sports book. You can download in your Apple or Android app today. Before you get to Super Chats, I want to clear this up because the internet is the internet. People are going to take things out of context. My Army dad analogy is how Mike Vrabel is publicly talking about Will Levis. I don't believe that's him in his personal life. I don't know how Mike Vrabel parents his kids. His kids seem very happy, right? But that's
Vrabel,
Mike Vrabel. We've seen Mike Vrabel. I've talked to Mike Vrabel. He is a cool dude. Players love Mike Vrabel. But when you get in press conferences, it's the same thing. I'll actually give you a great story from what happened. I was in New York last week from a summit. I got an opportunity to talk to Devin McCourty for a good amount of time. We were just one-on-one with this other guy. And he was talking about the Patriots experience. And he's talking about how Bill Belichick truly is in the meeting and how there's a time where there was an hour that passed and Bill wouldn't be quiet. Like he would not, and this is Devin's words, not mine. Bill wouldn't shut up. And we were late for another meeting because he was going over. But that is mind-blowing to the public, right? On how Bill Belichick is. So all I'm doing and all I'm criticizing is on how Mike Vrabel is handling this publicly, that I think, perception is not always reality, and sometimes perception is. And so I think you got to weigh that. And I think he's just going a little bit, he's leaning in too hard to that.
Yeah, and Mike Vrabel goes and watches his sons play baseball. Like Mike Vrabel's not a bad dad. So if anybody wants to take that, that's ridiculous. So Zach, quickly before super chats, is it right for Ryan Tannehill to lose his job because of an injury? I've heard people talk about that. I heard Brad Hopkins talk about that on 104.5 The Zone on Friday, and he was saying that and we wrote about this on A2ZSports.com, that if you go back to Ryan Tannehill, because Brad, former player, Blaine also said this, former player, former players all believe you don't lose your job because of an injury. But I think you lose your job, in my opinion, because of the guy who replaced you after you got hurt, played better than you were playing before the injury, right? And so Brad was saying, like, if you put Tannehill back out there, now you're going to see the true difference of, was the offense evolving organically, or did Will Levis evolve the offense further from what Tannehill was doing? And the only way to truly know that is if Tannehill goes back in the game, and if it reverts, then the difference was Levis, right? That logic checks out. Titans fans don't want to see that logic being proven. You just want to see more Will Levis.
Why did you draft Will Levis?
In hopes that he is the future of your quarterback, of your franchise.
Because of circumstances, he has had the opportunity to play. He has played outstanding in one game and okay in the other game. I wouldn't even say Will Levis played bad against Pittsburgh. He didn't play great. He didn't play good. He didn't play good enough to win, right? If he would have made one more play, one more throw, one more touchdown, maybe we speak about it differently. But it is what it is. You drafted Will Levis for a reason. Prove that was the reason. Yeah, it's okay. You know what Tannehill's ceiling is.
Yeah, I'm going back. Jay has a super chat, says, if he says all this publicly, then starts Tannehill over Levis, and we go backwards, I'll be pissed off at Vrabel.
A lot of people will be.
Yeah, no doubt about this. Rashid asked, did Bill Belichick do this to Brady when Brady was a rookie coming in for Bledsoe? I don't know. Was YouTube created in 2001? So we can go back and watch Patriots press conferences about whether Brady's the guy or if it's going to go back to Bledsoe. And I don't remember the extent of Bledsoe's injury.
Here was a little bit of a different. It was a delay because Drew Bledsoe got knocked, right? Playing the Jets, and he got a concussion. So he was out for multiple weeks. And and Tom Brady didn't lose. If Will Levis beat Pittsburgh by 14 points and then beat Tampa Bay again, there's no way. And that was the unique part. So what we can do, I think it's a valid question. You go back, and if I remember correctly, Tom Brady didn't lose for a period of time after he got the starting job in consecutive games.
You know who's another one? Ben Roethlisberger. Tommy Maddox gets hurt in week 2 of Roethlisberger's rookie season. Roethlisberger comes in, they win all the way through. And, they were 15-1 that year. With Ben Roethlisberger starting as a rookie. Kick It to the King says in the super chat that Vrabel's too critical. Look at how he treats Tannehill. And I think that's something that's totally fair, is that, how do you think Levis played? What happened with Ryan Tannehill? How did Tannehill play? Well, it takes all 11. That's Vrabel's different words that he chooses for Tannehill and Levis are also evident.
So here's a question, because I just went back. 2001 New England Patriots. They were 0-2. They lost to the Jets. That's week 2. Brady wins against the Colts, and then actually loses against the Dolphins. So the question I don't know, was Drew Bledsoe available to come back? because then he won 2 games in a row,
Right.
right? It's winning. You don't pull a guy for winning, right? The old adage is you don't pull a guy for injury. You don't pull a guy for winning either. And so this is where the unique situation is, because Will Levis did lose. He lost against Pittsburgh. He didn't win. That was close, but I think that goes into in a decision this week for Mike Vrabel, who's not willing to commit to his young quarterback yet.
Yeah, Jared says it's possible he's too critical because he wanted Stroud and not Levis. And CJ Stroud having, he saw Will Levis put up a great game on Sunday against the Falcons, and CJ Stroud 7 days later went up, put like the best rookie quarterback performance ever, I think. The most yards, touchdowns, completion percentage, all that stuff, and an incredible win for the Houston Texans to get to 4-4. Let's see more super chats to come in here too. I'm trying to find one that kind of goes. Andre brings up Vrabel talks about not executing plays, but ignores his staff not executing in-game adjustments. Coaches are just as responsible for losing some games. And that, Zach, was kind of the narrative that me and Sam just talked about Friday morning, the day after the loss to Pittsburgh, is that the coaches blew that opportunity in Will Levis's second start for how they managed the 3rd and 10 before halftime with a timeout left, how they managed the 3rd and 4 in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left. And then the ensuing 4th down bomb to Burks, who got hurt, and now it seems like he's okay over there. So yeah, coaching absolutely was problematic in situations on Thursday night.
Yeah, and I'm sure Mike Vrabel, what we don't know is what is talked about in the headset, right? We don't know what they're saying to say, hey, we need to protect, or we need to play conservative, we need to be aggressive. We don't know, right? But I think it is a point to bring up.
Yeah, Kick of the King says Vrabel playing conservative for the field goal at the end of the first half proves once more Vrabel is this generation's Jeff Fisher, captain field goal, frustrating. I didn't like that decision. You had one timeout. Try to go get a first down and see what happens with 25 seconds left. Plenty of time. Connor says if Vrabel starts Tannehill, he should be fired. He's the best coach since Fisher, in his opinion, but Levis is the future and the guy to build around and game plan around. Surely he knows this, right? Right? Like Connor's like double right is like he knows this, right? Like we see it. Mike Vrabel does see this, right? Like I think you have to think.
But his public perception and his he hasn't shown that, right? I think that's where fans are upset. That's why I say he's taking it too far. There's a line. It's okay to be the tough love guy, but the fans, you got to give something, give a little. And I think that's what the fans are yearning for the stop this. Well, Ryan Tannehill, we'll find out if he's healthy. We'll find out. And he may say that tomorrow. Or today. Yeah, right? Tuesday. So he may say that. I don't know. But I think the fans, it is growing a little thin in this particular situation.
Yeah, Julius, if Vrabel starts Ryan Tannehill, he wants to be fired to save a first-round pick for New England. By the way, we will have that show tomorrow on Tuesday to discuss the report that came from the Boston Globe on Sunday about the Patriots' interest in Mike Vrabel to potentially replace Bill Belichick. More super chats here. Brandon says, I like Buck's perspective on the quarterback situation. His Friday night show says it all. People should watch that show before commenting. I'm not sure exactly what Buck said about that, but that might have been primetime last night, I think. Brandon says 2 favorite plays from Levis: the quick snapping it with 12 men on the defense, and a 3rd and 13 conversion to NWI. Never seen a Titans QB do that. Yeah, I think the good thing, Levis has had some plays where like, oh damn, that was really impressive. Like tough and accurate and savvy, confident, all these type things, like prepared. All of those are words that have been described that you can describe Will Levis with in his first 8 quarters of NFL football.
Prepared is a crucial word.
Yeah.
He feels like he is mentally in the game. And for a young rookie quarterback thrown into a situation he didn't think that he was going to get thrown into, there should be kudos to Will Levis for how he's performed in that right.
Yeah, no doubt. Andre comes in. Texans let Stroud air it out, go for a win. Vrabel, Kelly handcuff Levis. Ironic how Stroud is succeeding with the same issues that stifle the Titans coaching.
I want to say this about the Houston Texans, because I've watched a number of Houston Texans games willingly, I'll admit, willingly this season.
You decided to do this.
the Texans came into this season with a completely different mindset of their team, of their offense, of their coach. Like all of this was new to the Texans, right? They were no longer tanking. They're playing free. They hit on some picks. Tank Dell has been really good. They've hit on the tight end they got from Dallas, Dalton Schultz. He has been an asset to them. CJ Stroud has played very, very well, but they're in a completely different situation than the Tennessee Titans. So I think that is, you can't compare the two. I don't think that that's fair. Different results, but they knew that Stroud had all of training camp as the starter. He had all of that preparation. He's started every game since. He's played in every game since. He's consistently gotten better and more comfortable. Will Levis has played 2 games. So apples and oranges there.
For sure. And I want to say that Levis is 1-1 and Stroud was 1-1. And Big Ten Jeff says, please stop the comparisons. Levis is not Stroud. I don't think that was a comparison saying that Levis is Stroud or Stroud is Levis or whatever. Finkel is Einhorn. I think it's the fact that the Houston Texans franchise is letting CJ Stroud go. They're letting him play and they're letting him figure it out. And he's figured it out in a positive side. You know, they're 4-4, but he is way net positive to where the Texans are letting him gain valuable experience.
Who's the backup quarterback? It's not a $30 million quarterback. It also is not Gardner Minshew. Like, look at those situations, right? Like you didn't have the Texans don't have a safety net because they're going all on their guy.
Davis Mills, who is he's like a younger version of Gardner Minshew.
No, Davis Mills is no good. We've seen enough of Davis Mills. Now, he didn't play on a great team, so there's that. But Stroud was given the keys. Here's the keys. Take it. And Mike Vrabel is still holding on to the keys. If you want to leave this house, young man, you're going to have to come get the keys from my pocket. I'm going to give them to you, but I'm going to need these back. I'm going to need these back if you need to leave again.
That's curfew's at 10.
Isn't that
Don't scratch the truck?
Isn't that the perception, though?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is, because Mike Vrabel wanted to win the South this year. The Houston Texans had no belief they could win the South. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the AFC South and get to the picture here, because right now the Titans are dead last after Sunday's results. Colts and Texans both get a win. Jags on the bye. Titans lose to Pittsburgh on Thursday, sitting at 3-5, the bottom of the AFC South. We'll talk about the AFC playoff picture as well, but let's ask your guys's, what's your confidence level in the Titans making a playoff push? What's your confidence level in the Titans making a playoff push for a playoff spot? But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute. boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever an injury happens in life, don't let it linger. Don't let that inconvenient injury become an inconvenient day-to-day. Go get it checked out, and the folks at the Bone and Joint Institute have all the experts and the resources at their facility in Franklin to make it go away effectively and to help you out and help you learn how to do it maybe at home too. The Bone and Joint Institute, it's so easy to book an appointment, find out what that injury is, how you can fix it, a home rehab, therapy there, or surgery if needed. boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports powered by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today. We also got 40% off all merch. We may have an opportunity to have 40% off later on in the show. You never know. Shop.atozsportsnashville.com, 40% off. They're flying off the shelves. We've had a lot of people come buy our merch, which is great because we're having basically a fire sale because we're moving our merch store. So it's honestly beneficial to all of our fans. So go get you a tee. Let's see if I can get the right side right there. A to Z Sports. It's comfortable. They're soft. The chat knows. Ask the chat. You get yourself an old ball cap. Do whatever. But go to shop.atozsportsnashville.com for some swag. 40%.
All right. What's your confidence level in the Titans pushing for a playoff spot? 1 through 10. Andre says, playoffs? You kidding me? Can't even win a game. Going Jim Morris Sr. on that. Zach, do you want to go to the chat first with confidence level?
Let's see. I'll let you go to the chat first.
I'm trying to scroll up. A lot of people watching today. A lot of chats coming in here. Got a 5 from Jags Guy Juice. Got a 0. Demetrius says that ended on Thursday night. Amanda's at a -3. Jody is at a 2. Ty Kendrick says 5.6 out of 10. Yuri says 3. Steele on YouTube with a 0. Ty on Facebook with a 1. Will Dodson says big fat 0. Pedro with a 4. Brad with a 2. Brent with a 3. Luman with an 8. Andre says 2. Titans shouldn't make it. Brian says 0 if Ryan Tannehill comes back as a starter. Patrick says Levis 4 out of 10. Tannehill 1 out of 10. Scott says 4. Darius goes double decimal 2.88. A lot of zeros, a lot of low numbers, Zach. So I'll let you go to the chat.
All right.
Or go
So
with your answer.
Let me explain, because you got to look at the standings for this.
Yep.
This is key.
Yep.
So let's talk about division, right? Division, you're not completely out of it because you still got to play the Texans twice, the Colts once, and the Jags twice, right? So let's say you win all of those games wildly. Let's say the Titans win all of those games. You're not out of it. You're not sitting here at a 2 if you win all of those games. The likeliness of that is slim and none, but there is a way to win the division.
That's 8 wins, right?
Right. Here's some positivity as well. Everybody except for the New York Jets, who were on bye, lost in the AFC East yesterday. Boom, boom, boom. Dolphins lost, Bills lost, and then the Patriots keep losing. You look at the AFC West, you're not going to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to win that division. But you look at the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Broncos, you've already beaten the Chargers. There's value there. That's not a great division. So really the logjam, and this is the tough part, the logjam is in the AFC North. You've lost to the Ravens, the Browns, and the Steelers. The good thing is you've beaten the Bengals. So the Bengals, if they continue to win, the tiebreak goes to the Titans if, in fact, at some weird way, they have the same record at the end of the year. You also play Jacksonville at the end of the year. That's a benefit, right? Because that's a 2-game swing in your division if you're going for the division. If Will Levis plays the rest of the year and gets a hot hand and really grows up, I think my number is 4.9. I don't think you can be 5. I don't think it's a 50-50 shot. I definitely don't think it's a 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, right? Realistically. But I think it's just under 5 because of the state of the AFC and the opportunity moving forward. The schedule is in your favor. I mean, it is. Let's say you beat Tampa and Jacksonville back-to-back on the road, in back-to-back weeks. All of a sudden, you're 500, about to play the worst team in football besides the Cardinals. Maybe it's a close one in Carolina. You could blink if you win 3 in a row, and now you're above 500 with a rookie quarterback that has maybe reeled off a string of wins.
Yeah. So you're at 4.9. I mean, I think
I'm not out. I'm not out on it.
Yeah.
I think it's unlikely, but I'm not out because there's still games to be played.
Yeah, I think it's funny that the Titans' updated win total number is 7.5 at BetMGM, and you're talking about 5 divisional games that are winnable. They are. 5 divisional games are winnable. Are you going to win them all? I don't know. Panthers game, you should beat them. I think you should beat the Bucks. So that's 7 games that are absolutely winnable games.
Well, that's 2 out of the next 3 too, which is important.
Yep.
You could lose to Jacksonville and just go for a wild card too, right? Like Jacksonville could just take the division. So if you lose to Jacksonville, but you win 2 out of the next 3, you're not in a great spot by any means, but you still play the Texans twice and the Colts once.
Yeah. You have to win 2 out of the next 3, and I would prefer to have that one of the 2 out of the
And here's a caveat. At the end of the season, you never know how it works out. The Jags may not be playing for anything.
Yeah, I think they've kind of changed that with how they want the seeding to go.
It's not likely. Not likely.
So I think the question's important, right? Confidence level in making a push for a playoff spot. That's the question. So I think you're like right under the fence. I'm going to go over the fence. I'm going to say 5.5 to make a push for a playoff spot. It doesn't mean they're going to make it, but I think 5.5 to make a push for a spot. Now, here's the crazy thing is that you look at the overall AFC. Only Denver and New England are behind you. That you've got the head-to-head over the Chargers. The Raiders win the interim coach game. That always happens, and they're at 4-5. But I think the Titans will end up above the Raiders and above the Colts when all is said and done throughout the season. It's really about Houston. Like you said, the Jets are going to fall off. The Chargers you got in the bag, they're probably going to fall off too. It's how quickly can you climb, and then who gets beat up in the AFC North division.
Pittsburgh plays Cleveland. Cleveland plays Cincinnati. Cincinnati plays Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh plays Baltimore. Baltimore plays Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to beat themselves.
Yes.
It's just it's the facts.
3 of them can make the playoffs, but not all 4 of them.
Not all 4.
Yeah. And so I say 5.5 out of 10 to make a push for a playoff spot.
And I think that's how the Titans should think too. I know it's tough after, 3-5, deflating primetime loss when you're close. Oh, the season's over. I just don't think they're at that point. The NFL, bless the league, is not set up that way. Mm-hmm. It's set up to give you as much hope as possible as late in the season. The Cardinals and the Panthers, tough luck, better luck next year. But for the mid-tier teams, because there's 7 playoff spots and how it's structured, it's what college football is about to be doing. Ole Miss is now going to have some hope where I've got a slim chance now, right? I got a 3% chance to make the college football playoff. That's not how the NFL is. It's more of you got about a 30% or a 40% chance.
Yeah. Kane comes in super chat, says, hey, so here we are at this point. I called a few weeks ago. Do you realistically believe the Titans are a playoff team? Come on, man, get a better draft pick. Look, Kane, that's not what the Titans are trying to do. They're not trying to get a better draft pick. And
they're not a playoff team, Kane, but could they make the playoffs? Maybe.
Here's the problem with the get a better draft pick. The NFC is bottom loaded with crap football teams. I just said the Titans are 3rd worst in the AFC right now, but the Titans are currently slated to pick 10th. That tells you Tampa, Green Bay, the LA Rams, the Giants, the Bears, Carolina / the Bears, and the Cardinals, all NFC teams that are doo-doo, that are going to be picking, majority of those are probably going to be picking ahead of the Titans. So the Titans bottom out like Kane wants them to do for the 9th overall pick, for the 8th overall pick. The Patriots are going to be worse than the Titans. So you're not going to get that. There's so many bad teams in the NFC that it's going to be really tough for the Titans to bottom out for an incredible pick.
The good thing is you're not trying to pick a quarterback.
True.
There's your glass half full. I've been big glass half full guy today. I don't know why, but you're not trying to draft a quarterback, and other teams will. So you can get the benefit of going to get a left tackle, going to get a corner, going to get a wide receiver, depending on what you're going to do with Burks. Burks is a whole nother conversation that needs to be had because he's not very good. And I don't.
We'll talk about it.
He's not very good. So are you going to go replace him? There's plenty. So
yes. All right, Zach, you teased at the very beginning the hardest age game that we've had yet, right?
I believe so. Yes.
All right. The hardest age game that we have had to date. But first, shout out Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see our friend Painbone and his team in Lebanon to make them a part of the process to get your new ride, or see them online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. So, Zach, the most difficult age game to date. I have the chat hidden, so I cannot cheat. Let's see if I can get a win.
All right. This is tough because you should know who this is. And if you don't, and I'm going to set it up where you should know who this is.
Okay.
We're playing the Kevin Bacon game to get to where we want because they got to throw some curveballs so people aren't Googling. Don't Google. Here's how the game works. First one, be quick. Don't hurry. You hurry, you're going to lose. So the backstory of how I came to what I came to is Bobby Knight. Bobby Knight passed away last week at age 83. We all know about the stories of Bobby Knight. You've heard the cuss out sessions in the locker room, which is old school back in the day. But Bobby Knight actually was in a movie. I don't know if you knew that or what movie he was in, but Bobby Knight was in a movie. And that movie was One of my favorites, and if you have never watched this, one of my favorite movies is Blue Chips with Nick Nolte and Shaquille O'Neal and Anthony Hardaway. The question is, how old is Nick Nolte? I've put that in the chat, and you may say, who is Nick Nolte? Let's go all the way back. If you've ever seen 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte, you should know who Nick Nolte is. But I highly recommend going to your local Blockbuster and renting on VHS Nick Nolte's Blue Chips. Blue Chips is about, it is a great movie. So here's my question, as you've hidden the chat. Have you ever seen Blue Chips, and do you know who Nick Nolte is?
No, I've never seen Blue Chips, and I vaguely know who Nick Nolte is. I'm terrible at actors. I'm terrible at movies.
I really believe, because this was a basketball sports movie, that is one of the greatest. Like, I think that this does not get enough credit. Very underrated movie. How old is Nick Nolte? And I've given you 2 context clues, right? So you can tell by the picture, and then you can kind of tell by the picture to give you a little bit of age range. But the question is, how old is Nick Nolte?
Okay.
First one in the chat that gets it right wins. You guess wrong, you're wrong.
All right. Let's see here. Nick Nolte. I'm going to say this movie came out in 1996. No, that's Space Jam year. There's no way Blue Chips and Space Jam came out the same year. I'm going to say 1995 for Blue Chips. Which is 28 years ago. I'm going to say Nick Nolte. '81.
81, final A to Z.
Final answer for me.
Let's go to the chat. How old is Nick Nolte? First answer out of the gate, and this is all just chronological. We go to the top. Is Lou Man. Lou Man goes with 73. 73 is incorrect. James is also incorrect, who was the second guess, is 73. Tress, 78. That is incorrect. Borkington, 74. That is incorrect. Zoe, 77. That is incorrect. Jody goes with 75. I believe this is a 2-time winner. I know at least this name, the first name, got it right, and I need some confirmation. You guessed what?
81.
Unfortunately, you were 1 year off. He's
Again?
82 years old. That's impressive, though.
That's the second week in a row I've been 1 year off.
And hasn't Justin been a champion before?
Yeah.
Justin, can you confirm that you are a 2-time champion, which now you get put in the ranks? And it's quick, not hurrying. I think Justin's a 2-time champion. Damn. Not once, but twice. He now ties with you. You're a 2-time champion as well.
Yeah.
Now you get a little bit more benefit. He is. So that's confirmed.
Well, like James says, Justin's a Googler. It's the first person and Zach, you set it up very clean to where it's hard to Google that.
It's hard. I do this. I do some research here, people. It is hard to Google. Let's ask Justin, be honest. Did you Google? And be honest with us. If you say yes, I won't strip the titles, but you will be in timeout. But I don't think Justin Googled. I think it's very difficult to Google this.
Yeah.
And if you go Google Nick Nolte today.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm watching on my phone, so kind of hard to Google answer. So I believe Justin.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and Bork's right. Guessing age isn't rocket science. It's luck. Like
And there's
I
a
came
lot
up-
of people. I mean, there's 500 people. I mean,
Yeah.
there are a lot of people, guessing. So, Justin, you are our two-time champion. And with that, we are going to, and we don't do this for everybody, we are going to give you an additional 40% off all of our merch. Shop.azsportsnashville.com. We don't do this for single champions, but double champions we will. 40% off all merch. You can get yours today. Justin, shop.azsportsnashville.com. They're flying off the shelves, but specialty for you. You can get that 40% off.
Man, and I also said blue chips. I guess blue chips 1995, blue chips 1994.
Go watch that movie, people. I know, go watch that movie. It is a great movie. I'm not even a good movie. That's a great movie.
And Zach, you did say something that I have to catch you on. You did say Justin gets an additional 40% off of what is already 40% off. So
additional of stock sale. So it's stock sale. So he gets the 40% off. And you know what? I've already gone back for Justin personally at shop.azsportsnashville.com. There's no promo code, Justin. Don't worry about it. If you push that specific link, you'll get the 40% off.
Additional 40% off is just 40% off of what the current price is, not 80%, guys.
Yeah, current price. And that's why I took the time to go ahead and do that for Justin.
Yes.
Shop.azsportsnashville.com.
All right. Look, big show today. It'll be big shows this week. Tomorrow, we will discuss the Boston Globe's report about the Patriots' potential interest in Mike Vrabel and what would have to happen for all of that. But we got a lot of stuff to get to today. Buck Rising is live tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime. That's at 8 o'clock Central Time. But make sure on the way out, you hit that like button. Thumbs up clicks. We need them on YouTube. We need them on Facebook. Please hit that thumbs up button. We'd appreciate that greatly. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow morning on a Tuesday. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.